earlier this week, I talked a little bit about what we were dealing with at our Advantage lunch in Frederick, Maryland. And we had the opportunity to meet with our good friends at Dell, and they gave us a really awesome presentation on PowerStore technology. Now, here's the cool thing. PowerStore is the latest technology in storage brought to you by Dell Technologies. If you aren't familiar with the history of storage and where it started versus where it is today, a lot of this stuff isn't going to be nearly as amazing to you as it is to people like me who have been around for a little while. I mean, going all the way back to when we first had computers in our schools, all we had were floppy disks and everything had to be stored on there. So you can just imagine where we're at today, all of the stuff. Like I say, if you're just recently becoming familiar with the kind of storage technologies, if you're just now learning about things like snapshots or things like backup and recovery, stuff that we just totally take for granted, it's just amazing. But it's some really exciting stuff. So I want to do a little bit of history to explain to you how storage works, and maybe that'll help you understand why some of these technologies are so amazing. So first and foremost, let's talk about basically the way storage has always worked. Well, you had two types of storage, of course. You had the floppy disks, which are some kind of attached storage that kind of gave way to the hard drives. And we're talking mostly about the hard drives, and hard drives are just kind of permanent storage. Nowadays, it's all flash memory. Now, that's what we're talking about with something like PowerStore. It's all flash. So none of it's actually like discs anymore. You can still get discs if you go to the store and you get, if you go to like Best Buy or something, a lot of personal computers will still have that. But we're even getting away from those in personal computers because it's really antiquated technology and flash. And by flash just means all memory. So let's back up for just a second. Let me explain to you how hard drives work. Hard drives basically spin their magnetic storage just like a floppy drive. The files and all the information is stored on that magnetic storage, and then the computer asks for it, it finds it, reads it, spits it back out. Flash memory is all just the same thing as the memory that runs in your computer. It's all zeros and ones. It's all transistors. It's all, semiconductors. So it's all logic gates, is the information on or off kind of stuff. So it's super fast because it's the only difference is it's just binary. It's not hunting and searching for stuff. It's all electrical. So how does memory work? How does storage work? Basically, all storage comes down to a file table. The file table says where the location of all of the files is at. So when your computer asks for something, if it asks for a document, the file, it'll ask for that from the storage, which will be in a file table. The file table will have that file and where it's located in memory. If it's a physical disk, like an old hard drive, it'll say, what platter it's on and what part of that platter it's on. And then the reader will kind of seek to that area, find that little piece of data, read it as it spins around, and then spits it back out. And the all flash version works in a very similar way, actually. The file table just points to a area of memory. So all memory is indexed. And I'm simplifying this, but let's say memories basically have a number, like 1, 2, 3, like memory bank 1, memory bank 2, memory bank 3. It's a lot more complicated than that, but we'll keep it simple. So this piece of data that you're looking for, the file table will say that's in bin number 3. And then the memory will go look in bin number 3 and spit out whatever is in bin number 3. So that's basically how memory and that's basically how storage works. Now, obviously, it's much more efficient with flash memory because it doesn't have to find that location on a platter. It doesn't have to seek to it. The platter doesn't have to spin. It just goes straight to it. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the things that makes Dell PowerStore so powerful is it does its data reduction by only encoding the data one time. So what that means, this is a pretty cool technique that it has. I told you yesterday it can hold petabytes of data, and that petabytes of data is basically achieved by minimizing redundancy. So let's say you put on a file, let's say you put on a photo on your computer, on your storage, you put a photo, and then somebody else puts the same photo on their computer. So when that goes to storage, if they're both stored in the same appliance, they look exactly the same. They're the same piece of memory. So what happens is the PowerStore, rather than putting that on that drive, instead of putting it in that memory twice, it only puts it in there once, but it has two pointers that both point to that. So that reduces the overall data. So that's a really cool, incredible feature. And that's just one of the many, many things that PowerStore does to handle that type of thing. They also do snapshotting using a similar technology. So snapshotting basically just takes the file, the way that the files and the storage is configured, and it takes all that information, right? And then it freezes that information in time. So that's a snapshot. And then you can make additional changes. But if something goes wrong, then you can return to that snapshot. So that's what's cool. That's not exactly a backup. That's different from a backup. A lot of people think of that as a backup, but that's not what that is. That's a snapshot. So let's say you were going to upgrade your operating system, and you're not sure if that's going to cause some trouble. So you create a snapshot, run the upgrade, and then all of a sudden things aren't working right. You can just return to that snapshot, and bam. Now that's a little bit different than a backup. A backup takes all of the data that's on that device and puts it onto another device. That's a backup. And typically, what you want to do with your backup is put that in on another device off-site. So back in the day, the old way that we did backup was we would use tape backup. So all of the data would be put on a certain location, right? And that would be moved to some kind of long-term magnetic storage, usually tape. People remember tape backups. It would usually run overnight because it takes a very, very long time. Well, now data backup can happen instantaneously, and it can all go off-site, or it can happen at nighttime. There's all kinds of things that you can do for protecting that data. Now, one thing that you do want to keep in mind when you're doing data protection is to also make sure that you have a good, easy, reliable recovery scenario. A lot of people skip the recovery part. You can back everything up, but if you back everything up and it's going to take you weeks to restore it, that's not really an effective strategy. You need to focus on backup and recovery. Now, another really cool feature that Dell PowerStore has is it has some AI built into it, a system called Cloud IQ that can help manage and alert you to things that are happening. It'll do lots of things, like if all of a sudden certain things in a drive start becoming encrypted, that can trigger its systems to let you know that there could be a ransomware attack. There's all kinds of other things, like if drives are filling up, if there's a drive that's failed in your array, then it can let you know about that so that you can replace it. On and on, all kinds of great and useful things that you can do in that regard. Another really cool feature, and we can tell you about that if you ever need more information, need to do more of a deep dive, see if a PowerStore is right for you, always contact Advantage Technology. We can help you out with that information. We're gold certified partners with Dell, and they have a really cool program called their Future Proof program, and it delivers all kinds of amazing tools. Basically, you get a 3-year satisfaction guarantee. You get Cloud IQ. It's an all-inclusive software package. It gives you the ability, it gives you kind of that peace of mind. So if you invest in a long-term storage solution, that's one of the first things that you're going to be thinking about is this worth it? What if I get this and it fills up in a year? Or what if I get this and we have all kinds of trouble with it? What if I get this and we don't know how to manage it properly? Well, the future proofing program will help you out with all those things, including data protection, tech refresh cycles, anytime upgrades, all kinds of really cool features that are available for that. And if you contact us about it, we can happily walk you through some of the details of some of those things and what's available for you.